Hello, my name is Andrew Wilson. I'm a student at the University of Phoenix Online, and today I'm going to talk to you about the educational merit of video games. I couldn't count the times growing up when my mother would yell at me, "Turn off that video game or you're going to rot your brain." Well, today I'm going to talk to you about why just the opposite is true. But first, let's start off with the facts. The facts is 92% of children ages 2 to 17 play video and computer games, according to the National Institute on Media and the Family in 2001. 60% of all Americans, or about 145 million people, play interactive games on a regular basis, according to Entertainment Software Association in 2004. The average time spent playing video games is about 27 minutes a day. So if you take a kid who's been playing video games since he was 6 years old, by the time he reaches the age of 21, he'll have played 10,000 hours of video games. Those are some hard-nosed facts, just straight down and dirty. Now, a lot of educators and parents alike don't see the good in video games. They see that their child is wasting time. They see it as an entertainment value only, but not necessarily the root value of video games. Video games as a whole develop critical and logical thinking skills. Now, you take a game like Call of Duty, which is one of the most recent titles out right now that a lot of kids are playing online. They're expected to make quick split-second decisions. They're expected to work as a team, and they're expected to make decisions that not only benefit them but benefit the rest of their team. So if you take that and you put it into job skills, wouldn't you rather have an employee that could make sound decisions that not only benefits him but benefits the team, or would you rather have an employee that has worked their whole lives to get a 4.0 and is just simply out for themselves? If it was me, I'd take the latter. Now let's get down to scientific data. The flip-over game, pretty big on the internet right now. And what people don't realize is the flip-over game is actually biology. They're doing stem cell research for people with gestational diabetes, and the game is designed that you are flipping over cells and you are trying to basically create an antibody that will help with gestational diabetes. They pitted 3 biologists against 3 gamers, and they did this in 10 different instances with 10 different sets of 3. And 9 times out of 10, the gamers beat the biologist in this flip-over game in creating this antibody for gestational diabetes. That alone should show you the critical and logical thinking that video games create in individuals. Another reason why video games have educational merit is the all work, no play attitude. If your child is constantly just homework, and he never has any fun, the kid is going to get bored and the kid is going to be depressed. This 27 minutes a day is free therapy. You allow him or her this time of rest, this time to himself or herself, and you're going to see a much happier kid. And with the recent diagnosis of ADHD in so many kids, video games have been known to aid with ADHD because attention deficit or hyperdeficit disorder, you see kids that have trouble concentrating in school or trouble concentrating on a certain topic. But you sit them down in front of an Xbox 360, let them play their favorite race car game, and I guarantee you'll have their attention for more than an hour, which is uncommon in kids diagnosed with ADHD in the classroom. Most of my topic revolves around a paper that was written by Elizabeth Simpson. She's a professor here at the University of Wyoming, and she wrote a paper called What Teachers Need to Know About the New Video Game Generation. One of the things that she hits on is that teachers do not know how to properly reach these kids in a way that they're used to being reached. Most video gamers are seen as apathetic, they're seen as lazy, and they're seen as a waste of society because they don't try as hard in school as they do in their video games. Elizabeth Simpson, she developed a way of teaching that reaches gamers. Instead of just failing a kid and consider it a failure, she allows them to retry until they get it right, much like a video game where you can hit the restart button and start all over and just keep trying until you get it absolutely correct. And as long as you're willing to try, she is willing to change your grade. My wife was lucky enough to have her as a professor when she was going through her special education course, and this is something that Miss Simpson taught my wife that she has since carried into her classroom, and she said it makes for a complete change around in kids that were normally not really the best of students, not the hardest workers in class. So you take a video game minded individual and turn school into a video game type scenario, you're going to have a 4.0 student where you would normally have a student that would probably either drop out or just be riding it out until he or she graduates. The other thing that Miss Simpson touches on is the fact that my generation and the generation that comes after me and the generation that comes after me, we are technology natives, whereas the generations prior to us are generation immigrants. Not generation immigrants, but technology immigrants. I apologize for that. And you look at a kid now, a 4-year-old kid now, could probably operate an iPad, iPod, computer, you name it, can probably operate a computer better than a 60-year-old man right now. That the times are changing, and we're getting into a more technology-driven world where everyone has a computer in their pocket with the use of smartphones, and video games are just as readily available because of the App Store. So why not tailor the classroom to this video game mind? Why not tailor the classroom to this technology-based mind? There are kids in high school right now that can do more with a computer than I will ever dream of because they've been raised with them, they know the ins and outs, they know how to get around the back doors of the computer to get what they want out of it because they know them better. The educational merit in video games reaches out just beyond a video game that'll teach you your ABCs, a video game that'll teach you your mathematics. The educational merit is in true life skills that aren't taught in school. There's a 3D environment where a kid can go sit down and play and do what he wants when he wants. He can make money, get a job, do things like that. I personally am not a World of Warcraft player, but you take World of Warcraft and you take the fact that if you're the leader of a guild, you are gaining valuable leadership skills that you wouldn't gain in the classroom unless you were a football player or something of that. And then you'd have to be the captain in order to gain those leadership skills. Then you look at World of Warcraft again, and you look at the teamwork and the timelines. I guarantee you that there are kids that have been tardy in class that have never been late for a guild meeting or a raid or something like that in the World of Warcraft world. Finding a way to bridge that gap between video games and school is what's going to make this nation back to where it was with the most intelligent kids in the world. Finding a way to bridge that gap to allow kids with ADHD to concentrate through the use of video games and technology as a learning tool instead of just as an entertainment tool is going to help us get back to where we were in education. Finding a way to adapt those critical and logical thinking skills that are learned on video games and nowhere else in the classroom are they learned is what's going to help bridge that gap. As educators and parents, we need to realize that video games are not going anywhere. They're a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. They're very successful. Our kids are always going to want them. We just need to find a way to make it work in our favor instead of just allowing them to play mindlessly or it being something that we take away at the end of the day when they've done something wrong. In conclusion, I want to sum it up. The educational merit of video games involves critical and logical thinking skills. It involves helping kids with ADHD, and it involves adapting video games in the classroom to make for a brighter and better future for our young adults, because too many kids are dropping out at the end of the day because they are bored in class because it doesn't provide that 3D world environment that video games do. So I challenge each and every one of you to find a way to bridge the gap between the video game world and the real world. Connect with your kids, connect with your students, reach them in a way that no one's ever thought of reaching them before, and let's make the video game generation the best generation to ever come out of America. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you learned something from my speech.